Welcome to the Monique Guiled Method Show, where business meets science and intuition on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com. Monique Guild's unique technique leverages her cutting-edge and no-nonsense approach to evaluate you, your business, and your projects, to see and pinpoint blocks, and as a futurist, she has the know-how to catapult your business to the next level. So call in with your questions to 504-556-9696. And now, here's the host, Monique Guiled.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Monique Guiled here, your host with the Monique Guiled Method Radio Show. I am so glad you are joining me today. We have an interesting topic today called You Are the Observer and the Observed. And I'm going to dive into what all that means. But you are the observer, and you're also the observed. So I wanted to tell you that right off the top. And a couple of little things I want to also let you know is I'm going to be taking a hiatus for a few months. I will have the show next Wednesday. It will be here, noon Central Time, and then I'll take a hiatus for a couple months, and I want to make sure that you guys get my information and know that you can review past shows on the site, the Monique Guiled Method Radio Show site, and also to my business site, MoniqueGuiled.com, and they're also on YouTube and all the major platforms, and you can go back and listen to previous shows and all that sort of stuff, and you can always join the email list, newsletter list. Monique at MoniqueGuiled.com is my email address, but if you go to the website, you can sign up there for the newsletter. So I just want to give you a heads up on that, but if you'd like to call in too and discuss any business questions, have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? If you've ever thought those questions, asked yourself those questions, this is the place you get to get those answers. And the reason being is I have an inherited ability. My dad could have a patient walk in the door, he was a doctor, and pretty much tell you everything about that person before they open their mouth. And my grandmother had some of their stuff going on as well, and I'm able to know what caused a business to get stuck on an atomic and molecular level just from hearing somebody's voice. I get all kinds of information. I've been the go-to person around the world when a business or product or project has become stuck, or family businesses in El Salvador, and they're transitioning third-generation coffee, sugarcane, hotels, and condos to the fourth generation, but when their family fights, the riot police have to be called in. So they were really super stuck, and they'd worked with the biggest consultants in the world, and no one was able to help them, and I'm that person that people go to when things are seriously stuck and they're ready for change, and it needs to happen quickly. I'm able to pretty much identify within the first hour what's going on and what needs to happen. So years and years of working with different people or managers, financial managers or consultants, I can get it nailed down in the first hour because really my interest lies in building and developing businesses. I love to do that, and careers, and helping people get on track in their career lives. It's so much fun. Love doing it. I've done it for over 20 years. Was in the LA Times, quoted as the bubbly Sherlock Holmes. I figure out the unfigureoutable, and that's just what's up here. So you've come to the right place if you've asked yourself those questions. And now let's take a dive into this topic here. You are the observer and the observed. So the reality that you are living right now, in your life, what's going on, you may be running a corporation or a company, or you may be a stay-at-home dad, and you're running the business at home, or a stay-at-home mom, or you are wanting to level up your business to a whole nother platform, and you're in contemplation, or let's say your reality is total chaos, and you're just like, how the hell did I get here? What is all this about? That reality that you're living right now, You actually observed into existence. You observed that reality into existence. You are the thought. Thoughts are waves. Now I'm going to get science-ish on you here, because that's what I'm all about, science and chemistry and physics and quantum physics and all kind of stuff. So you are the thought, which is a wave, in the matter, which is a particle. Okay? So when we have thoughts, they are waves. And then when you freeze those thoughts, when reality freezes, when you have the reality you in, it becomes a particle. So you observe your reality into place, the good, the not so good, and the not wanted, by the thoughts that you habitually think. What are you habitually contemplating? Are you rehearsing the past and going over, oh gosh, resentments or regrets? Are you rehearsing the argument you had with somebody this morning? Or are you rehearsing, like, someone gave you a compliment and they said, oh my gosh, you did such a great job, and you're rehearsing that in your mind? Or let's say your company just made a killing and you just got a chunk of money in, or somebody just invested in your company and you guys are all high-fiving each other and having a great time and so excited about the possibilities, and this is going to allow you to expand into a whole nother frontier. Are you contemplating that? Or are you contemplating how to even begin to develop something or create something new? I mean, I bet you that Elon Musk, I know he did. He spent a ton of time in contemplation and thought process and learning what he had never learned before, and figuring things out, figuring out the unknown. He spent a lot of time there. So you observe your reality into place, all of it. You are the thoughts behind all of it that freezes the matter or the particles into place. And over 25 years of my experience, this does not include my experience in childhood. People cause chaos in their lives, turmoil, maybe internal or external. Because what happens is people get bored and they simply don't know what to create next, or how to build what's next, or they are too chemically addicted to their present circumstances. So I've done this for years and years and years, right? And it all starts, we develop skills in childhood. My skills, what I'm able to do, size up people, situations, that sort of thing, I learned how to do it as a kid. I had to know what was up. I had to know the good guys from the bad guys and what was happening. And through all the years of actually being in business, I see that people will cause an internal sort of turmoil or chaos within themselves or chaos within their lives simply because they've gotten bored. I'm going to be back. We're going to pick this up after the break. You're here on WGSO 990 AM, and this is the Monique Guild Method Radio Show.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM, and I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Welcome back here to the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. I am so glad you're joining us here, and if you have any questions or things you'd like to get answered, you can call us here at 504-556-9696, and I'd be happy to help you with any of your business questions. Have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? If you've never been able to identify what your true strengths are, I'm able to help you do that pretty quickly, just so you know. It's real fun for me to help a person who may have been in a career situation, oh gosh, doing God knows what, and they're miserable, and it's because they're somehow off track, and I'm able to help that person really get on track by identifying really what's inside of them. So that's real fun. So if you've ever asked yourself those questions that I went through at the top of the show, give a call here, and I'd love to help you answer them. But back to the topic today, you are the observer and you are the observed, right? So fear keeps you in the known, right? Fear, most people, they say, scientists say that people stop growing between the ages of 32 and 35, that they stay in the same old routine, the same old patterns, doing the same old thing over and over again because they're afraid to get out of their box, as you would say. They're afraid, and it's actually a box forms in the brain, so to speak, that becomes who you are. And it's the neocortex as part of the brain that is responsible for keeping that box safe, for keeping you in that box. So it's about overriding the neocortex and growing beyond where you've been before, and being a person who can take risk. I think I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum where I'm going to go cliff diving, and this is just metaphorically speaking, and I think to myself, I've jumped off and I'm like, oh my God, did I pack my parachute? I've done it so many times in my life where I'm like, yes, I'll do that, and jump in, dive, do it, and figure it out as I go. And it can be a little bumpy that way, but for me, I'd rather be stepping into the unknown and creating a new reality, because when you do that, you meet new people, places, things, events, all kinds of things begin to percolate. But staying in that fear, staying in the known, it's really, honestly, it's a chemical addiction, and I'll get into that in a minute. So fear, stress, anxiety, anger, blame, being a victim in any part of your life, blaming anybody for your set of circumstances, especially if you're an adult and you're still blaming your parents for what happened to you as a child, I got to get over it. I mean, we could all blame till the cows come home, right? And it's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do me any good. It's not going to do anybody any good. It just keeps you in the same old routine, staying stuck and not moving and growing beyond where you've ever been before. So that repetitive pattern is based all in chemicals. It's based in your chemistry. It becomes as a result of the environment you grew up in. You learn to think a certain way. Like I learned to think a certain way as a result of the environment I grew up in. Like I know how to handle stressful situations or overcome these, huge major obstacles and things like that because I had to. So I became neurologically hardwired as a person who can do those things. But that doesn't mean that's a great thing. Because when your body is so used to being so taxed out and having that chemical flow, and then you don't have that chemical flow because you've gotten used to having a really calm life, but then all of a sudden the body's like, excuse me, that's way too comfortable for me. I need a chemical hit. So it will cause, I'll speak for myself, it'll cause something internally. I may begin to think thoughts or cause a situation internally inside of me, like a health issue or something, simply because the body needs a chemical hit. And being, for me, I've got to stay on top of that. I must continue to grow beyond where I've ever been because I just know myself, and I know, and if you're anything like me, that when you're not growing, we either grow or we go. And I don't want to go backwards. I just don't want to do it. It's too boring for me. It's like a slow death. So any type of repetitive pattern is all based in chemicals. And those chemicals that cascade through your body, you were doused with them when you were a child. Your body got used to that homeostatic state that those chemicals gave you and that you're getting now. It's like the thermostat in the room where you set your air conditioner between like 72 and 75, right? And when it gets too high, it goes up to 77, the air conditioner will click on and keep you comfortable at 75 or whatever it is, the state that you set your thermometer, the thermostat at. So it's the same with your body. Your body stays regulated to a homeostatic state chemically as well, just like your air conditioner. So as we get older, the body craves more and more of those chemicals because it takes more and more to, quote unquote, get that hit, if you will. It takes more. So a person may attract in, not may, I've seen it over and over, where the situation, the circumstances just get bigger. The chaos just gets bigger. And we actually observed that bigness into existence. We thought bigger and bigger thoughts, because every time we think a thought, a chemical gets released. And when you think more and more dramatic chemically thoughts, you get bigger and bigger douses. So you create all these stories in your head about the what ifs, or, oh my God, that person, or, oh, I hate them, or, oh, if you see your thoughts getting bigger and bigger, your rage getting bigger and bigger, it's just your body's running the show. And you gotta cut that out. The body's got to stop running the show. And this is where you get to determine how you want your life to go. When you really learn to hear your inside self, what your true calling is, what your real ambitions are, what you really love to do. And sometimes that can be so flippin' scary, because when you really realize you're not living what you really love to do, you go, oh my God, I've got this huge mortgage. I've got a family. I've got kids to feed. How the heck am I going to, quit what I'm doing and dive into what I love to do? Like, how is that even going to be possible? And it is amazing. I'm telling you, when you begin to take just one step towards that, don't quit anything, don't stop anything. I'm not talking about doing that. I'm saying just one step towards your dream, your vision, your goals, just the love of your life project, just one baby step towards it. What happens is that puts you on a new timeline, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you're going to get a call from so-and-so from 20 years ago, and they're like, hey, Betty, remember that sewing machine you used to use and make all those dresses, designer dresses with? Have you pulled that thing out lately? Because my granddaughter's graduating from high school, and I want to have you design a graduation dress for her. I mean, it's amazing what begins to happen. So just taking that baby step towards something that you know you love to do, you know it. So anyway, and what that does is it overrides. You begin to take control of the body running the show, getting you to think thoughts to get its chemicals. Instead, you're like, no, I'm going to take an action that's going to result in different thinking, and I'm going to keep moving in that direction, and that's going to call forth new people, places, experiences, just that little tiny steps you begin to take. So you may love a part of your life, and you may hate another part of your life, right? And the hate part is there to show you how you are the observer, which is neurologically, chemically based, right? I'm going to say it again. That hate part is just there. The part you really don't like about your life is just there to show you how you are the observer, how you've thought certain thoughts and have thought them repetitively, which is neurologically and chemically based, right? And when you get to really start to spend time with that and realize and stop and think and really become aware of where you are in your life and what's going on and what you keep rehearsing inside yourself about what you don't like, you can begin to change that. And just by taking different actions, you're going to start getting different results. So it's a really cool place to be in when you realize, like, wow, I have been thinking about how much I don't like so-and-so, or how much I don't like certain situations. And anyway, we're going to go to commercial break here. And join us back here at the Monique Guiled Method Radio Show, and we're going to pick it back up, WGSO 990 AM.
This is Monique Guiled, host of the Monique Guiled Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Hello, welcome back here to the Monique Guiled Method Radio Show, and I'm Monique Guiled, your host here. We're discussing being the observer and the observed. And I also want to give you a heads up that I will be taking a hiatus for a couple of months after next week's show. So if you'd like to have a look at and listen to the previous shows, you may do so on all major platforms, podcast platforms, as well as go to the MoniqueGuildMethodRadioShow.com website. And you can also go to MoniqueGuild.com, my business website, and sign up for the newsletter there and keep abreast of things and events and all that sort of stuff that are happening. And there are free products on the site. You can go to the upper right corner and you can download a few audios and all kinds of stuff to help your business get on track. But so back to what we're discussing here today, and if you want to call in, 504-556-9696, I'd be happy to discuss. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about right now, please call in. Love to discuss it with you. And or your business, please give a holler here, and I'd love to talk to you. So getting back to where we were, talking about that you may love a part of your life and absolutely hate another part of your life. And but that quote-unquote hate part is actually there. It's a big fat indicator. It's a big beacon to show you what gets to be transformed, because as passionate as you are about really not liking something is as great as the journey is for you on the other side of that, in when you discover what you want to do and get in alignment with what you really came here to do on this planet. Beginning to even just take a small step towards that, great things begin to happen, because you begin to feel differently, you begin to vibrate out differently atomically, and those atoms go out, attract other like atoms of similar frequency. They come together, they form a unit, and whatever the highest consciousness is of that unit is what's going to begin to materialize in your life. It is science. It is all based in science, that just small, little, deliberate actions actually are not so little, because you're taking control of your life by stopping the chemical flow and the habitual neurology, the habitual thinking process that you're in. You're stopping it by taking those actions. Now, the body may say, hey, whoa, what is up with that? Oh, I feel really uncomfortable with this. Oh, this doesn't feel right. Or you'll think thoughts like, oh, I'm crazy. Who do I think I am? Well, those thoughts are actually great thoughts, all of those, because all it's doing is signaling to me, this is what I tell my clients, that your body's uncomfortable. You know, when you say you feel uncomfortable, actually it's your body feeling uncomfortable because it's not getting its full dousing of chemicals, because you've stopped it by taking a different action. And so your body will be, oh, I don't feel right. This doesn't feel right to me, or this isn't. Well, that's great. It's not supposed to feel right. It's supposed to feel off. It's supposed to feel different. That means you're starting to get out of your same old routine, and you're taking a different action. So I look at that as a great indicator, like, yahoo, yay, you're feeling off. Good, keep marching, you know. I say to a lot of my clients, right action, you can't wait. It goes, you can't think your way into right action. Sometimes you're just going to have to act your way into right thinking. And when more and more you take those actions that are in alignment with what you love to do, you're going to start to think different thoughts and feel better and get excited about life. So that part that you don't like about your life is actually a really good thing. You just got to flip it, because on the other side of it is so much gold. It just is, for sure. And I know for myself that, and I talk about this a lot, that expansion is so important for me, because if you're anything like me at all, if you're not expanding, then you're going to be expanding in a way that you just don't even want to go there. Like, oh my God, getting into an argument with someone, or causing some sort of health issue, or, it's just expansion in the exact opposite of where you want to go. So, or creating some kind of internal chaos, like anxiety, that sort of thing. When you're so immersed in what you love to do, you don't have time to think about, you just don't have time to get anxious. You're so involved with what you're doing. I'll never ever forget when Shirley MacLaine, the actress, singer, et cetera, said to me years ago, I was having dinner at her house and she had just finished her hike across Spain. It was a big pilgrimage, and she wrote a book called The El Camino based on it. And myself and this guy, Rick, we ran her office, and we were like the nucleus between everything that she does. And she had just gotten back from her hike. It was like 6 months, or she was gone for months and months. It was a pilgrimage. I can't remember how long she was gone for. It could have been only 30 days, but anyway. And I said to her, she's telling this great adventure, and I said, well, Shirley, weren't you worried that some weirdo was going to bother you in the hut in the middle of the night? I mean, because I'm thinking, for God's sake, she's Shirley MacLaine. She's meeting with all these people from all over the world. And, I mean, anyway, she looks at me and she says, oh, Monique, I don't have time for such small thinking. And I was like, oh my God, how rude, But then I thought to myself, oh God, I wish I'd never said what I said, because I know one day I'm going to get what she's saying to me. And it's exactly what I'm saying to you. Here she was on the love of her life project. She had been training for months, hiking through the Santa Monica Mountains with a backpack and all this weight so that she could do this really, really long pilgrimage across Spain. And here I'm thinking about, aren't you worried about being bothered by some weirdo? And she's not. She's so into her journey. She didn't have time to be thinking about that. She's just so into where she is and loving where she is and doing this huge hike. She loved it so much she wrote a huge book on it, And so that's what I'm talking about, that when you're really expanding, you don't have time for that limited thinking. There's no time for, you don't get into anxiety. You don't get into all that because you're so involved in what you're doing. And that you're really, that you're so engaged and involved, you start to lose track of time. You're like, all of a sudden you come to and you're like, oh my God, I started this at 9 a.m. and it's already 3 o'clock. That's when you are seriously on to something. So expansion is so important. Getting into it and getting into what you used to love to do. And whatever it was as a child, if you had the opportunity as a child, because not all children do, I would be one of them, if you had the opportunity to explore what you love to do, and your parents supported you in that and encouraged you in that exploration, whether it was art or building or acting or writing or whatever was that there, what you love to do as a child, oftentimes that has something to do with you getting engaged with that now, if that makes sense. So, okay. So the body knows, so many of us, the body knows the chemicals of chaos and stress and all that. We all know it comes from childhood and all that sort of thing. And really beginning to become aware of that and getting clear on that. And if you can use that stuff to your advantage, that certain situation that you grew up in, if you can use it to your advantage, fantastic. But if it's not working for you anymore and you're miserable, then it's time to stop and take a look. It was a blessing that I had, so to speak. It was a blessing that I had so much stress and chaos as a kid, and I had to learn to run things and take care of things so early on, because by the time I'm 28 years old, I was featured on the cover of the LA Times. Not the cover, I'm sorry, the Metro section of the LA Times. I was featured on the cover of the Metro section, and I was called the bubbly Sherlock Holmes. So at 28 years old, I was able to, I didn't realize it, but I was able to channel that type of focus that I used as a kid into running this certain department across the nation for this corporation, which was to my advantage to a point. I did pay a price for it. So when you start paying a price for skills that you have that are not great, that's also an indicator. It's time to take a look at What are you doing? Where are you heading? And is it in alignment with your authentic self? We were always getting indicators, and our bodies are huge. Our bodies will tell us so much if we just pay attention. I believe so much illness and things are caused from not paying attention. So when you start paying attention, so much will be revealed to you. So we're going to get ready to go to a commercial break here, but join me back after the commercial break. And this is the Monique Guild Method radio show here on WGSO.com. And we're talking about being the observer and the observed. And you can call in here too at 504-556-9696. Be happy to take any questions that you have.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Hello there. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method radio show. And we've been talking about being the observer and being observed and all kind of stuff, and observing our reality into existence, and how to use mile markers, such as when you are not liking something in your life, or you have some sort of health issue going on, or you're just feeling uncomfortable in your body. These are like indicators that there's something inside of you that is so amazing, that's about to, that wants to come out of you and wants to be displayed, so to speak. If you're an artist, definitely displayed your artwork and all that sort of thing, or a musician, you're having people listen to your music and all that. But these are all indicators. So getting back to, and look, if you want to call in here, call 504-556-9696. We've got a little bit of time here, and I'd love to discuss with you. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, I'd love to talk to you. And you can also call my office, 310-614-0946, or email me, Monique at MoniqueGuile.com. Be happy to talk to you about any sort of things that are going on and what to do to expand and grow into where you're going. So I was talking about a little bit about my childhood, and I grew up with all these brilliant people, but there was equally as much chaos. But I was able to channel, so to speak, funnel that into working for companies initially where I did really well. And then eventually my business was launched, and I was able to move that in an area which worked for me. But also, too, I've gotten stagnant. There are things I've had to do to change and to grow. And I remember when my business first took off in 2000, I freaked out. I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. It wasn't something I sought out to do. It's something the media found out about. And I, after about 5-6 months of doing it, I was just like, whoa. And I did a documentary across the country. I love filming documentaries. I love meeting people. I love interviewing people. You can see some of that on YouTube, Conversations with Monique Guild, people that had a dream or a vision, and in spite of all the obstacles that they encountered, they hung in there, they achieved it, and now it's uplifting and helping mankind. And on Conversations with Monique Guild, there's world-renowned people like Michael Rosenblatt, who discovered Madonna, was on my show, or just a lot of people there, and world-renowned that you can listen to. But in the documentary, I met everyday folks across the country who had a vision, a dream, and no matter what happened to them, this one lady, Flo Robinson, in Picayune, Mississippi, I met her, love of my life, woman I met. She's just amazing. And she knew that when she was diagnosed with cancer, that was the time to go and get her real estate license. She was very religious as a child, and she, the Lord told her at age 11 that she was somehow to be in real estate one day, and she had no idea what that meant. She was living in the projects. She was being abused there and had zero support. But when years later, when she gets this diagnosis, she knew that that was the time she had to go and get her real estate license. She always knew she would somehow have something to do with real estate. And the doctors told her, they said, Flo, you have got 3 months to live, and you better go home and get your affairs in order. And she puts her hands on her hips and she says, Doctor, she says, I have got 3 kids to raise, and the Lord has plans for me. And she says, Monique, she says, when they tell me, when they say I'm crazy, she says, I get happy feet. And I start dancing. I don't look to my left. I don't look to my right, because I walk by faith and not by sight. And this woman went on to open up Rainbow Realty in Picayune, Mississippi. She has helped hundreds of families. She's helped Vietnam vets get off the streets and into homes, and and get out of cars and into homes. She says, if you have any kind of a paycheck, she helps so many people establish and get into their own homes. And then when I talked to her after Katrina, she started Walk by Faith ministries for women. I mean, this is a woman who continued to override all of her circumstances. And when I met her, it was 17 years later, and this is after she'd been diagnosed, and she's still alive, she's still kicking, she's still doing great. And I just talked to her when I was just in New Orleans. Now, years later, 2017, 18, I don't know how many years later after I met her, she's still that vibrant force. And when I come back off a hiatus, I want to have her on the show, because she's literally one of the most inspirational women who walk their talk. She continues to expand and grow into the unknown no matter what is thrown at her. She is a living, breathing example of what I'm saying to you here. That when there's something going on, when there's something you don't like in your life, when there's something happening, it's just an indicator to go and do like she did. For her, it was real estate. She's like, she was working for AT&T, and she's like, she quit her job, and the science community was doing all these experiments on her, and they're thinking she's going to die. And she got her real estate license and opens up a real estate company, and she is still alive to this day. She had cancer that metastasized all over her body. So this is what I'm talking about. And when you become that person, you're the one who creates a reality which is observed, a reality that people can now see. So not only are you the observer through your thoughts and what you think, but then you also are the observed. People can see who you are. You can live by example, because you're connecting to a higher, greater reality. As I like to say it, you're connecting with an intergalactic reality. You're connecting with the galaxies. You're connecting with God, the void, whatever you want to call it. So you get to create and ask yourself, do you want to continue to create based in your past, or do you want to step into an unknown that is terrifying, yet extremely exciting at the same time? You get to do that. And I'm sure Flo, at that moment when those doctors told her that, she was like, I'm sure she took a breath and cried and all that sort of stuff. And then she put on her big girl panties and was like, no, this is the exact time I need to get my real estate license. So I like to choose the latter. Lord knows I have not been perfect in it. But the stuff I've already been there and done all that on, I don't want to do it anymore. It's boring. Been there, done that. I'd rather keep cliff diving and wondering if I put on my parachute and live experiences. So anyway, this is Monique Guild, and this is the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. I will have one more show next week. I would love for you to join me, and you can bring any of your questions. If you've ever asked yourself, how far can your business go? What are your true strengths? What should you really be doing in your career? Why might you be so stuck? And what is your next step? And if you'd like to get some free products off of my website, you may do so at Monique, MoniqueGuild.com. In the upper right corner of the website, there's a gold box, and it says free gifts there. You just click on that box, and it'll take you to a page where you can download some audios and just listen to things. And also, too, go back and listen to these shows. On the Monique Guild Method radio show. There's so many different topics that will help you move forward into the unknown and create realities where you've never been before. And it's fun. It's a really, really super fun place to live. And you can always email me at Monique@MoniqueGuild, GUILD.com. Don't forget to join the newsletter. On my website, you may do so and read previous posts. And I'm just so glad you guys have been a part of this show over the last few months here. This has been so much fun being on WGSO 990 AM. What a terrific station here, and everybody here is so amazing. And do support the station. They're raising funds right now. They've got a goal here, and they need contributions so they can continue to deliver what they're delivering. And they're not controlled by any outside forces, which is fantastic. It's a publicly funded radio station. So I love New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans, and I want you guys to have a great day, and I'll see you next week here. Thank you.